Welcome in, everybody. How's the sound? Is it okay? Okay, good. Welcome in, Max. I didn't even look up at the screen and I had a feeling you were popping in already. Wild. Welcome in, Sarah, Shelly, Patricia, New Life. Welcome in, everyone. So I did something a little different this time, which is kind of funny, the way this is all working out. Welcome in, Dorothy. So, I had a dream about 1044, okay? So I decided that I would put it in for 1044 for this live. And I figure it would all fall into place. It would all start to make sense. It's kind of blown my mind. I've taken the time to shuffle the cards and get out the reading on the table, but I will be doing clarification with the reading. But the overall consensus is that whoever this message is for, you've had someone come up against you that is broken inside. And I'm being called to turn out and say that forgiveness is a beautiful thing. Okay? A lot of the times we have a hard time forgiving ourselves or forgiving other people. And it's usually due to the actions being taken against us. And whoever I'm speaking to, you've been through a lot. You've been through an extreme amount of pain, of suffering, of stress. And it was all at the account of this person and their envy and their disrespect towards your life. And it was all dealt out of jealousy. It was all dealt out of not having what you have. Now, I'm getting the feeling that this particular person that was jealous of you had more than you. They had more available to them, more resources, more money. So to see you rise from where you came from and to see you going to where you're going, it's almost as if it's like a rocket shooting off into space. And I'm being called, it's the last rocket home. And they missed out. They missed out on their train. They missed out on their boat. They missed out on their ability to resolve and calm the flames of their current storm that they're dealing with. Okay? So, to whoever I'm speaking to, you need to stay positive, and I'm gonna tell you why. You need to let go of the pain, the suffering, the anguish, the anxiety, the depression. Release it. Because what it's doing is it's keeping you in the lower vibration. Okay, and again, it's coming back to another reading I did prior, where for a lot of us, we've been through the trenches, we've been through the Boer War and back, okay? We've been through the struggle. Thank you so much, Sarah. And that lower vibration of being in that struggle, of having to make ends meet, try to make it through, and to continue to strive, and to continue to stay strong and grounded and focused on what you need to do, focused on your priorities, focused on, you know, what you need to have happen in your life. Okay, it's been extremely difficult for you to do so, but you've handled it like a knight, all right? You've handled it like an emperor. You've handled it like a king. I'm going to tell you right now, whoever this message is for, the wheel is now in your favor. Okay? The wheel of fortune is now in your favor. And this is why I'm saying that you need to stay in this higher vibe, because there's no going back this time. Okay? There's no more setbacks. There may be challenges coming up for you, but there's no longer going to be any crazy setbacks. You're leaving the setbacks in the dark, in the dust, and where they belong. Okay? Yes, we all will have challenges throughout our life, but it helps us to get out of our comfort zone. It helps us to snap out of the illusion that we're in. Okay? However, your destiny is on track. This is a confirmation to those that think that you're behind. You're right on time. There's certain lessons that we needed to learn and to take into consideration before we could gain the better understanding in order to move forward. And sometimes when this happens, it does get a little bit confusing. It does get a little bit rocky in your foundation and your footing. But throughout this, you've realized that you were potentially building your destiny in your life on quicksand. And every time you went to try to build the next layer, it would just sink into the ground as if it wasn't even feasible. You've literally, quite possibly, had to relocate. You've probably had to bring yourself to a different understanding or a different footing within, even in your mind, of understanding. Either way, you're finding your confidence again. Okay? You're creating a situation for yourself of strength, of confidence. You're recognizing that you are the warrior. Okay? And you need to continue to have that stance and really take a step back and recognize how far that you've come through all of it. You got some people teaming up against you because they can't seem to do it themselves. So they tried to commission some people to come up against you in behind the scenes to make your life chaotic without you even realizing it. Okay? Again, they tried to throw the rock and hide their hands, thinking that they would get away with it. Okay? Thank you, Maximilian, for all of your hard work tonight. My goodness. I usually say some people's children, but tonight, some people's parents. So anyway, I'm going to go over the reading. And yeah, I think it's going to resonate to those that need the message. All right? I'll give you a hand here, Max. Hang on. I don't need you breaking a sweat tonight. You need a night of relaxation. All right, so we've got angel number 1044, okay? And so we started the live at 10:44 p.m. So the number 1044 angel number is a blend of the vibrations and influence of number 1 and number 0. And number 4 appearing twice, magnifying its influences. Number 1 promotes changes, new beginnings and ventures, ambition and tenacity, self-leadership and assertiveness, uniqueness and individuality, ambition and willpower. Number 1 also tells us that we create our own realities with our beliefs, thoughts, and actions. Number 0 represents potential and or of choice, a spiritual journey. developing your spiritual aspects, listening to your intuition and higher self, eternity and infinity, oneness and wholeness, continuing cycles and flow, and the beginning point. Number 0 also relates to the God force, universal energies, and source. It magnifies the influence of the numbers it appears with. Number 4, it resonates with practicality and discipline, application, hard work, responsibility, progress, traditional values, conscientiousness, honesty, and integrity, inner wisdom, and diligence, and determination to achieve goals. Number 4 also relates to our passion and purpose and the energy of the archangels. Angel number 1044 brings a message to keep your thoughts positive and optimistic as you look to an important new role or venture and know that you are capable of their undertaking. Okay? Acknowledge the determination, discipline, and hard work that you've put into your endeavors in the past and know that they will bring long-term benefits and rewards to your life. You've shown great tenacity and initiative, so take heart that your efforts have been well worth your while, and you are encouraged to keep up the great work you have been doing. Your positive energies, intentions, and actions will manifest your expected results. Angel number 1044 is also a message from your angels that you are to look to new ways to get your work done more efficiently. You are especially gifted in many ways, and you have great creativity and communication skills. Use these talents to enhance your own life and to uplift, support, and serve humanity as your soul dictates in productive and creative ways. Listen to your intuition as your angels are ushering positive energies towards and around you. Angel number 1044, it also encourages you to keep striving ahead and do not take no for an answer. Expect miraculous answers and solutions to appear as you need them. So if you want to check out your angel numbers, I do recommend the Sacred Scribes Angel Numbers at blogspot.com. Okay? And these are angel numbers by Joanne's Sacred Scribes. Usually when you look up a angel number, it would be probably the first one that pops up. Okay? And the website kind of looks like that. Okay? She kind of gets right down into the nitty-gritty of each number, and she kind of allows it to be expressed in a way of understanding. So, doing things differently. Open to be doing things differently, but staying the course. Being grounded, being focused. Continue doing what you're doing. Because some of you, I feel, that you've been working towards this divine path, and people's got some stuff to say about it. Okay? People's got some things and opinions, and they're mocking you. They might be throwing shade your way. They might be giving you evil eye. They might be telling you you're evil. Specifically, if you're into some sort of spiritual work, okay, or study. Now, whose opinion really matters? The only opinion that really matters is your own. It's about taking accountability for your own actions and living to your means, living to the ability of striving for what's meant for you. Okay? So, I did pick up pick a couple angel cards. And we have Raphael popping out to say hi. Trust your spiritual vision. Your psychic and spiritual abilities are awakening. Trust what you are seeing, for your intuition is correct. You can read between the lines, and the information you feel rising up within you is being divinely revealed to you. You have spent lifetimes preparing for this moment, and although you may feel apprehensive, you were born for this. Believe in the beauty of your gifts. I trust my inner vision. Okay? And then we have principalities. Spiritual study is essential. You are on a path of great learning. You have already gained so much understanding from your spiritual encounters and experiences. But in order to become the teacher you were born to be, more study is required. Take the time to dive into spiritual books and texts, study them carefully, for they are here to help you understand fully some of the processes you have experienced naturally. I am willing to learn in order to teach. And the air guardians, take time to breathe. Slow down and breathe. Take time to reflect before proceeding further. You are allowing your past experience to influence your current behaviors, and there is another way forward. You are being reminded to stay high vibration in your actions and choices. Refrain from reacting, for this will only delay your progress and healing. Love is the way. I breathe with ease, knowing angels are with me. Okay? And this is why I took some time to breathe. I took a day off. I took 2 days off. I don't know what it was, but I definitely took a day off. I know that much. I might have taken tonight off too, but I'm like, no, I need to see my tribe. I need to get back at it. So, yeah, I took a day to myself. I took a day to just rest and recuperate and chill out. I hope you didn't miss me too much. All right, collective, my tribe, my supporters. Let's have a look, see, shall we? So somebody thought that they could betray you. Okay? Somebody thought that they could block your intuition, that they could block your intentions, and make you look like a pompous ass. They thought they could go behind your back and lie about you and spread a whole bunch of bullshit. You know what's kind of funny? They're too much of a coward to even say it to your face. They're too much of a coward to face you to start with. They're, they're quite, they're a quite sad individual. Okay? The fact that they think that they had the power to block your intuition, to block your intention, to block your way forward. That's not how we work around here, right? No weapons formed will prosper. So, I asked the voice of souls, is there any particular energy for my collective and for the particular energy that you have been dealing with? Okay? For you, there's no regrets. Okay? You got no regrets regarding what you've done. Why? Because you show integrity in your action. You show positive intention with your action. Okay? And the thing is that when you say something, when you do something, when you go ahead and make something happen, you've already thought about it. You've thought about the good things that might happen. You've thought about the bad things that might happen. You've thought about the variables of the in-between of what could possibly happen. And you make sure that those instigated actions that you move forward with, that you're focusing on, are intentional. Okay? And this is why you hold no regrets. This is why you stay true to yourself. This is what brings out your authenticity. Because you think before you do, you think before you say, and you make sure that what you are doing is backed by integrity and authenticity. This has helped you drop your fears, knowing that you're not having to worry or fear of even regrets because you live with intensity, integrity, and authenticity. Okay? And people can't get over that. People think that you're just going on as a whim. Meanwhile, you've got your intuition guiding you. You've got your higher self and spirit guiding you. Along with that, intentional integrity and authenticity. Collective, this is bringing you freedom. Because you're acting out in a way of authenticity, it's setting you free from all the shackles, all the chains, all the pain, all the suffering that you've experienced in the past. It's setting you free from that. And when I say that you should be figuring out how far you've come and really take stock of that, it's miraculous. And if it's not miraculous, it's on the borderline of becoming a miracle of what you've been through and how you've got through it. So if you resonate with that, if you vibe with that, that's your message. For the warlock or the dark energy worker that's been coming up against you, they created this group of people to come up against you behind your back, to throw rocks and hide their hands. They're in for a world of hurt. And I'm not wishing this on anyone, but they're doing it to themselves. Okay? And this is a particular energy that doesn't take accountability. They would sooner be mad at somebody else's progress and success than deal with their own pile of shit. Okay? So, in order for them to heal, they need to, and I'm going to give them the answers on how to shape up. Because they do. They definitely need these answers. Okay? They need to know how to transmute their pain into power. And right now, what they're doing is they're utilizing their pain as their power. And all they're doing is throwing around a bunch of karmic energy. They're not even in their authenticity. They're not even in their integrity. They're not being honest with themselves. Okay? The thing is they need to nurture their inner child. They've been abandoned more than once. And the reason why they've come up against so many people is because they keep abandoning them. And the reason why they keep getting abandoned is because they choose to be in this karmic energy. They choose to be in this energy of sabotage and jealousy and envy and anger and bitterness and pain. And as much as they may have a smile on their face to see you, deep down, they're broken. They're abandoned. They feel worthless. They don't feel like they have an actual place to stand in the world. So they're acting out in an effort to gain some sort of attention. Okay? And the reason why I'm bringing this to your attention is so that way you can understand where their actions are coming from. Okay? To you, collective, you've taken the time to sit with your inner child, of all those times that you weren't heard, of all those times you were told to shut up. Do as I say, not as I do. You were put in a little box. You were put in a position where you had no power, you had no voice, you had no, there was no foundation for you to stand on. You were always standing on everybody else's. And then when you grew up, it became an issue because you had nothing to stand on for yourself, and you had to take it upon yourself to create something for yourself. And it's taken you years to recognize that. And it all had to do with your childhood. It all had to do with your inner child being abandoned. But the difference between you, collective, and the people that are trying to sabotage you, you still have compassion in your heart, okay? And you took the time to heal, okay? You took that time to be in a good position to move forward. You took that time to be compassionate with all aspects of yourself, to understand yourself fully to the fullest degree. Without that time of healing, I believe you might have been in the same position as your adversaries. But because you chose to stay strong, stay focused, and continue forward, this has changed your life. This has changed the way you look at life. This is changing the way you see people. It's changing the way you take action and show focus. And it's given you the upper hand against your adversaries. Okay? So by you dropping your fears and facing them, it's provided you with a position of no regrets. Okay? It's brought you to a place of freedom and healing. Okay? Now, as for this other particular energy, could be a group of people, could be one person. It could be one person specifically at the top of the helm of this group that's puppeteering these people to do what they've done. All of these people, they've backed off. These so-called friends that they had, these so-called monkeys that they had, they're recognizing the truth. They're recognizing what's been going on. They see where they stand, and they're backing out. They're not offering any help for them. They're not offering any type of assistance to this whole idea that they want to project onto you. And this has made them quite angry. It's literally brought a lot of anger to the surface as to how they're reacting and what they're focusing on. Okay? And so because of this anger surfacing and bubbling up of the old energies of envy and jealousy and all of this crazy, obnoxious, chaotic energy. They're submersed in it so far that they're not learning from it. They're failing to see the point of the message. They're failing to see the lesson. They're failing to see what they need to see in order to grow. Okay? And it's their own actions that are creating their situation. They feel healing is not an option. They wouldn't even know where to start. And it all starts with compassion. It all starts with self-love. Now, some people, in their karmic energy, they take self-love and they become conceited. They become very arrogant, feeling that they just need to think of themselves and screw everyone else. That's not the case. Okay? That's not the situation. It's not the way to go about it. I'm going to say that right now. It's about showing compassion to yourself, showing compassion to your inner child. That's where it starts. Collective, you've left these people speechless. The reason why they haven't come forward and spoke to you is because they don't know what to say. You're not the same person as you were before. And at this point, the only thing they have to come forward with is a bunch of deception and lies. Because they are so filled with anger that it's pretty well eating them alive. It's eating them from the inside out. And they're doing it to themselves. They're diminishing their life force. They're diminishing their lifespan by continuing on like this. And it's unfortunate, but they have no one but themselves to blame for this. Because they choose not to step into the compassionate authenticity of their healing, of their heart. You can't do it alone, collective. You can't. As much as you want to, you can't. We can do some things alone. There's a lot of healing that we can do on our own. Introspection, right? Reflecting. But when you take this pain to a bad place and you get enthralled within that negative energy, it really does something deep into your psyche, into your mind, into your heart, into your soul. It really changes you. It's difficult to get yourself back out. And the thing is that you need to trust yourself above all else. You need to trust yourself. Because without trusting yourself, you can't trust anyone else. If you don't trust yourself, you're not going to trust a higher power. If you can't trust yourself to make your own decision, you can't expect spirit to give you any type of information. Okay? And this is why it's so predominantly important to believe in you, first off. Because you first need to have the worthiness within yourself in order to connect to your higher self, and in order to connect to spirit, to get those messages, to get those downloads, to allow that intuition to guide you. Your self-worth, self-love, self-forgiveness, the integrity that you hold, the authenticity that you hold within yourself is paramount to your healing. If it's not there, you're doing it wrong. And you need to take a step back and recognize. They worked hard, extremely hard. Okay? They weighed their options. They wanted to see results. Okay? They wanted to end things. Okay? They were dedicated to taking you out. They had ambition and self-empowerment to take you down. Okay? They were incentivized to lie on you, to tear you up. So I'm really getting that there very well could have been a family member or a friend or something that incited this particular energy to come after you. For some of you, a lot of these energies that came at you, they were paid to do so. They did it for money. And now they're finding out different. The people that were paying money went broke coming up against you. They've got nothing left, collective. They've just about lost everything coming for you. This warlock, we'll call it that. This warlock thought he had it in the bag, not realizing who they were screwing with. Tonight's reading is about a chosen earth angel. So if this is resonating with you, this very well could be your reading. And you need to finally stand in your power. Because what they had coming up against you, to a regular person, it would have ended them. So you need to recognize and understand how extremely undefeated you are. For as much as you went through, you are undefeated. And for some of you, you had covens coming up against you. It was all based on lies. But you had covens coming up against you, working magic against you, thinking that they were going to pull one over on you, thinking that they were going to have you 6 feet under. It didn't end up working out. And quite frankly, these covens that come up against you have now been dispersed to the point where they don't practice together anymore. Their whole coven is broken apart because a lot of them realized before it even started, and it played on their conscious. It played on their soul, it played on their spirit, that they should not be doing what they're doing, and they did it anyway. So they screwed around and they found out the hard way. And now they're all sitting in shambles, wondering what happened. They were so disciplined at taking you down, taking your ideas and your decisions and your discipline and making it look like a total joke. Oh, they're too good. Their shit don't stink. They're pompous, they're arrogant, they're this, they're that. They had every name in the book on the fly, talking about how you were the lesser, you were the problem, you were the stink, you were the issue. And it's pretty sad that they had to come up against you with a bunch of people, like groups of people. And yet, you're still here, you're still surviving, you're starting to thrive, and you've got no regrets. But the fact that they thought that they could come up against you and lie on your integrity, lie on your influence, telling everybody you're a fraud, telling everybody that you're full of shit, that you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Meanwhile, when the people that were coming up against you stopped to actually listen to what you actually had to say, you started growing on them. They started to realize, no, actually, this person is actually saying something true. They started validating you, collective. They started to see where you were coming from. They started to see your understanding and the way that you went about things. And they recognized the fact that you're not one to play with. They recognize the fact that you've been through hell and back, and that if anything is going to destroy you, it's going to take a fucking army to do it. And they had nothing equal to that. A lot of them are sitting and now taking notes to gain a better understanding of their healing experience. And this is why a lot of them have disbanded. This is why a lot of these groups are no longer. It's because they're focusing on their own healing. You've sent them on their own journey, collective. You've sent them on their own healing journey to better their life. And now they're taking notes. You've turned non-believer skeptics into believers, into disciples, into followers. You've taken the broken and healed them. You've taken the worthless and made them whole. You've taken the hungry and fed them. You've created a totally different synopsis and reality than what they tried to portray. And all they had to do was stop, look, and listen to learn something. It's all they had to do. And again, in my readings, I'm not out here judging you. I'm out here speaking on different energies that are popping up in the ethers. That's all I do. I'm not going to name names. You know who you are. If the shoe fits, wear it. But this is to help you recognize where you are, where you don't want to go, and what you need to focus on to get to where you want to go. That's all this is about. I'm not here hating on you. I'm not going in behind the scenes, doing a bunch of magic, doing a bunch of spells on people. I don't need to do that. Okay? If I do any type of magic, it's on myself. I don't got time, I don't got energy, and I sure as hell don't got the balls to do any energy on anybody else. Because honestly, it's a waste of my energy. Why would I use my energy, my wholesome energy, trying to manipulate someone else, when I could use that energy for myself, to heal, to strengthen, to create a situation and a foundation for me? This is why I don't need to go do magic on anyone else, because I'm actually protected. So I focus that energy on myself. Meanwhile, you've got groups of people using their precious energy that they could be using to heal themselves and bring themselves to a higher elevation in their authenticity and their mind. And they're using it and wasting it to come up against you and create chaos in your life. The choice is yours, collective. Okay? The choice is yours. When you allow the jealousy and envy and anger and sadness and pain to get the better of you, that's what it looks like. Okay? So their lies, their deception, their dumbass games that they're coming up against you with, the divine's looking at them, shaking their head. They need to empower themselves. They need to find a new ambition. They need to take responsibility for their own actions and dedicate their energy to their own situation, their own foundation. They need to finally heal these burdens and finally put them down once and for all. Because by doing that, options and choices will become available. But they first need to take stock of this whole situation. Okay? Now, where you're concerned, you're coming out of a time of a hermit mode. You've had some time of reflection. You've had some time of insight. You've taken the time and consideration to gain the wisdom that you needed by going within, finding out your true nature, finding out where the pain was. You might have done some memory recall. You start with the first day of your life, or the first day that you are representing here and now, and you work your way back to the day that you were born. You take the time out to go over those experiences that have brought you pain, to gain a new understanding and a new process on how to go forward with that pain. And a lot of the times, you'll feel and you'll find that a lot of the pain that was projected onto you was of their own. It was nothing personal. It was nothing to do with you personally. It was all on their own merit. Okay? And this is actually what helped you gain focus and to take action. When you started recognizing that this pain was not yours, it was not personal. You recognized. You gained a better perspective of the situations at hand. Okay? You're very patient in doing so. And although it made you question and overthink and really dig deep, it really brought you a new understanding of how you look at life and how you express yourself and how you react and act. And this is what helped bring out your authenticity and really solidify your foundation of integrity of what you wanted to stand for. I've got goosebumps, my whole body. Because of this, it's brought you to this Empress energy. Okay? It's brought you to this abundance, this ability to be beautiful from the inside out. You're not so much worried about your cover of your exterior, but you wanted to work with that beauty from the inside. You wanted to start that foundation from the inside because you know that what is within you is also outside of you. And because your reality outside of you was so chaotic, and because of the situation of within you, of all the pain and all the suffering and the trials and errors and tribulations that you've been through, you had a lot of chaos within yourself. And instead of worrying about the distractions outside of you, you went within with this hermit. And you gained a better understanding of that hurt and of the pain. And by doing so, transmuted it to understanding, compassion, and love, which released and calmed the flames, calmed the storms that were within you. And by doing so, brought you to this new abundant energy of being able to create your best life, to create what you've always wanted to create, allowing those dreams and those aspirations and insights to come alive again. And this is why you need to hold steady with your foundation and with your healing. Because as you might not see a lot of fruitful actions just yet, things are about to change. Things are about to change in a storm of the century. And I hear a bunch of you saying, oh no, not a storm of the century. Aiden, why are you doing that? Why are you saying that? I'm done with the storms. I'm done with the snow. I don't want no storms. You're pretty well on your money about the storms. Can you just like stay away from the storms? I'm just done. I'm done. I want spring. I want summer. I want good weather. I want sun. No more storms. Please, no more storms. I must admit I pretty well fucking called it. Anyway. The situation is collective. You need to recognize. You need to recognize the beauty that is you. For the trials and errors that you went through, you do not look like them. You do not look like it. You do not look like what you've been through. And this particular energy, this negative energy that you've been dealing with, this entity, this person, this group, they're standing corrected. Quite frankly, they're speechless. They have no idea as to how to come forward now. They have no idea what to say, what to do, how to act. And Spirit's got you blocked out of their energy. Okay? So, you could be dealing with an air sign, you could be dealing with a fire sign, you could be dealing with a Sagittarius, you could be dealing with a... There's really nothing else out here. Okay? But it's almost as if this King of Swords, they're all salty, bitter, and angry that the fact that their lies didn't work. They're salty, they're bitter, they're angry at the fact that they tried to get someone to come towards you. Okay? This could have very well been a Sagittarius that come forward. Okay? But this particular person found out the truth. They found out the lies. They found out the truth behind the lies. They found out the situation that this King of Swords energy, this lying sack of shit, they found out the truth as to what they were trying to do. And once they found out that they were trying to break your heart, they were trying to destroy you, okay, they backed out. And then quite frankly, they created a whole bunch of chaos for this liar. And that's another reason why they're salty and bitter. Because this deep, dark plan to ruin you and destroy you blew up in their face. Okay? How did it blow up in their face? You burnt some major bridges. Okay? You didn't trust them. You didn't trust these people that they were having come forward. You felt them to be disloyal, and you turned your back on them. Okay? And this particular energy it was meaning to hurt you. It was meaning to get you to act out of character. They're trying to make you look crazy. Now this particular energy, this Sagittarius, they're gutted. Because at first they came forward with good intention. They were given the idea that it would be interesting and fun to get to know you. They started to get to know you. They started to see your integrity and your authenticity. And they began to ask questions. So if you had a particular person come into your life, they were relatively interested at first, they wanted to get to know you, and then all of a sudden they ghosted you, it's because they realized the truth. And it's definitely a case of that's not my monkey, not my circus or my monkey. I want nothing to do with that. And they got quite pissed off at this particular liar, this particular warlock. And they even burned bridges with this warlock. They have no dealings with this particular person anymore because they realized the truth. And they did not want to be put in the middle of the situation to help create chaos for you. So you burn these bridges that you didn't even realize that were being built towards you. They tried to get you out of character. They tried to bring chaos to you. And their lies were revealed for what they were. And now they're salty, they're bitter, they're angry at the fact of that actually happening. The fact that their games didn't work with you. That you were too smart for their dumbass bullshit. The thing that's got them really going, that's got them agitated the most, is the fact that you're in this energy of healing. You're in this energy of self-care, introspection, and meditation. And because of this, you've got some major options, major possibilities coming towards you. Okay? It's almost overwhelming how much you are loved. And they don't like this. They don't like to see this. They don't like to see the fact that you're healing. They don't like to see the fact that you actually amount to something when they wanted you to feel worthless. They wanted you to feel less than. To be honest, they wanted you dead in a ditch, but it didn't work out. Because you took the time to heal. You took the time to look at the truth and see the truth for what it was. And this is what saved you. They worked so unbelievably hard to bring imbalance and chaos and sadness into your life. They worked extremely hard to bring about the demise of everything that you were working on. Not realizing that the divine guided you to do what you're doing. By healing yourself, by stepping into your power and gaining connection to the divine, it brought you on a little adventure, which it always will. Okay? But they worked extremely difficultly hard on bringing disharmony to your life. Okay, these cards were clarifying each other to bring about your demise. And it fell apart. It fell apart. Collective, the fact that you dropped your fear, you dropped your worry, you let your emotions go, and you kind of felt through it. You were patient with yourself because you did the work. Okay? You knew that with all the steps that you were taking, that something good was to come out of it. All right? And the fact that you took the time to do the work, you're able to release the fear, the emotions, the worry. Okay? And they didn't like that. They didn't like the fact that you were winning. So this is why they figured, okay, well, I need to get some other people involved because I can't bring them down myself. Well, clearly they're healing. Clearly there's something going on. They must be doing magic. They must be doing something. Little do they know, all you were really doing is focusing on your healing, focusing on what was a priority to you to stay alive. And Spirit was guiding you through that to make the best of it. And once you found out all the lies that were being spread, once you found out all of the deception and the constant sabotage going on behind your back, you didn't even have to hear it from people. You just felt the energy. You felt the intention. You felt the energy. You opened yourself up to get the answers that you need for the clarity that you needed. So the divine pulled through for you. Okay? And the thing is that because you found out of the lies and the deception and the sabotage, okay, and what they've done to try to take you out, at first you wanted a reunion. You wanted to heal things with them. You wanted to calm the waters. You wanted to be friends. You wanted to have some sort of relationship with this person. You were hung up on them, right? Because they projected to be that soulmate. They projected to be that person for you, only to rip you apart, only to tear you down. And once you found out that it was all lies, there was no more longing. There was no more reunion. There was no more let's talk. There was no more missing of them. You realize the truth. You realize the deception that they never loved you to begin with. And although it was a very difficult pill to swallow, it really woke you up. It really brought you to a new understanding that if people could honestly be that way, what would there be their motive? Are there people out there actually that sadistic? Are there people out there that evil and cruel that they just want to rip somebody up for nothing? After being supportive, after being loving, after being compassionate and supportive and kind to them, and all they wanted to do is rip you up because of it? Because of your loving heart? There's no way in hell somebody would be that vindictive. There's no way in hell there would be somebody that sadistic. But there would have had to have been another motive behind it. And you knew this particular person to be money hungry. You knew this particular person to expect a lot from those they were around. And you begin to see the mind games. You begin to see the lies. You begin to see the deception that they portrayed, not only to you, but we're talking family members, we're talking colleagues, we're talking work people, we're talking different. You've seen their actions. You've seen their reactions. You've seen the way that they portrayed themselves. And they kind of gave off this very half-assed, very delinquent kind of energy to start with. It kind of threw you off. It turned you off from this energy. Like if you're going to be that half-assed with that, what else are you going to be half-assed with? Oh, there's a time and a place for everything. No, there's a time and a place for quality, and then there's a time and a place for quantity. And then there's a time and a place for equilibrium of both. But this particular energy was just half-assed. They didn't care about anything. They didn't give a shit. So because of the lies and everything, because of the deception, because of how they acted, because of how they reacted, because of all this, you gained a new perspective. You see things that cannot be unseen. So this is marking out the fact that you're not missing them anymore. Okay? You don't want to talk. You don't need closure that you needed prior. You got the closure with how they acted, and you realize that now. There is no reunion with this energy. Okay? And you have no regrets walking away from this particular energy. Because they weren't there to support you to start with. They were there to deceive you and sabotage you and bring you to your demise. Because that's what they were paid to do. So who would pay them to do such a thing? The fact that you didn't lose, the fact that you're not depressed, the fact that you're not living in a mud puddle, and the fact that you didn't off yourself has got somebody very, very pissed off. Okay? This is a nostalgic energy that's been watching you. This is somebody in your family. They not only incited to elect and pay this person to ruin you, this person was not the first one. There were many people that come into your life almost like a miracle, only to rip you apart. And you need to recognize these relationships for what they are. They were meant to sabotage you. And they all have a connection to the same person from your past. Okay? They were incited, they were paid, they were hired to rip you to shreds. And even so, that they were hired and paid to do such a thing, here you stand, like a miracle before their eyes. The fact that you're still alive, the fact that you've survived, the fact that you went through this and you still have your soul intact, the fact that you don't have to sell yourself to get by. And I'm kind of picking up on the fact that that's one of the rumors that they had going around, that you're nothing but a hoe. They paid you for sex. They paid you for this. They paid you for that. They basically paid you to be their hoe. You can't turn a housewife into a hoe. And you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. It doesn't work that way. Collective, this whole idea of them watching you gain these new opportunities, this new career, stepping into this Empress energy, the fact that you're being successful, okay? The fact that you are starting something new for yourself, you're standing on your own 2 feet, and you are gaining through these new opportunities. They tried to ruin you. They tried to ruin everything that you tried to build. They didn't want you glowing up. Okay? And the thing is, the fact that you're gaining, the fact that you are winning, has got them all out of their feelings, out of their comfort zone. They're having an awakening. They're realizing every word that you've ever said to them is stuck to the inside of their mind. They have no other choice but to go back into the memories of what you've said to them and how you pretty well predicted their situation as to what was going to go on. You pretty well predicted their life. And it's now coming to pass. Everything that they come up against you on, they tried to get you sick, they tried to get you dead, they tried to get you drugged, they tried to get you raped. We're talking very, very sadistic energy. And I don't mean to say all these words for the algorithm. I'm just telling you how the energy is. It is what it is. There's no other way to explain it, really. But they tried everything. And now they're sitting in their shamble. Now they're sitting in their pain and their suffering, and they still haven't healed yet. And yet here you are, striving with new opportunities, a new career, and you're being successful. And they can't watch anymore. It's eating them up. And the fact that you demasked them, you ripped their mask off, the fact that they see you winning and that you've totally ended all communications, all connections, energetically and otherwise, you're pretty well sticking to yourself. You come to the conclusion you were dealing with a psychopath. You come to the conclusion you were dealing with an outright narcissist. You come to the conclusion that you were dealing with a very sadistic and evil person. And this isn't only the people that you were dealing with, this is a person in your family. The fact that they seen you winning and they couldn't handle that. The fact that they needed to belittle you and make you feel worthless, and so you wouldn't progress, you wouldn't attain your success that you very much deserve. And it was too much for them to bear. But now, you're taking your own responsibility. And you're creating success with that. You're ending all responsibility and all connections, all intentions towards this individual. You've gray rocked them. They are a figment of your imagination, and they're but a memory and a lesson to help you recognize who you have in your energy. And now the fact that you've went through this, you've had an update to your red flags. You've had an update to the way that you see people. You've had an update as to how people show up to you. You've had an update to your overall understanding as to what matters to you. You've had an update to your heart space on what you want to show compassion towards. And this narcissist, this egotistical, opportunist, fragile SOB, they can't compete where they don't compare. And now that you've seen their true colors, they have no access. They have no ability to step on you anymore. Because if they do, they're going to have to do it to your face. If they come forward to wreak havoc in your life, they're going to have to do it to your face. Because they have no access to the people that you're talking to. They have no access. They have no knowledge as to who you're with, who you're talking to, who you're friends with. Because you're keeping to yourself. You very well could still be in a hermit mode. Which nobody knows anything about you now. Nobody's heard anything about your plans. So they have nothing that they have nothing to work on. They have nothing to sabotage. Stay silent, collective. Work in silence. Hold your cards to your chest. This is your superpower. You might have some odd people coming in and asking you certain things about your life and certain situations about your life. You're telling them the same old story. You're not telling them anything new. So they go back to these people that think that they're pulling the wool over your eyes, thinking that they're going to get more and new updates and new information, and they're still saying the same old shit. They're saying how much of an idiot this person was and how they tried to ruin you. Yeah, but we already know that. What else? What other information? What else have they got going on? Oh, I don't know. They never said anything. Oh. Well, did you ask? Yeah. But they say that they just keep, you just keep fighting. You keep fighting out of the situation. You're trying to remove yourself out of this crazy ass egotistical bullshit. You're trying to rid yourself of the chaos. They're asking personal questions. Yeah, I'm not about to tell you my personal life. I'm not about to tell you what I'm working on. I'm not about to tell you what my plans are. No. You're keeping it silent until it happens. You're keeping it silent until it is fruitful. You're keeping it silent until you know you have a solid foundation. And the particular people that you're working with now are in and understood as to who you were dealing with. So if anything comes forward from these past influences, from these past people, these new people already know what you've been through. These people already have seen what you've gone through. These people are already understanding as to who these people are. Even if they bring new people, they have enough of a brain to understand who they're dealing with. And they have enough brain to be loyal and respectable towards you. So, just know that you're on the right path, collective. Just know that no access will be granted to these imbeciles that choose to wreak havoc. They have no other choice now but to sit with what they've done. They have no other choice but to sit with what they've lost. Because you're a real one, collective. And you know what? There's not a lot of people out there with the kind heart and compassion that you have. Okay? There's not a lot of people out there with the same ideas, with the same love for the world. There's not a lot of people out there. You are a rare gem. And the fact that you've cut ties and the fact that you've blocked them out, they have no other choice but to sit with it. They've literally got no other choice but to sit with their own actions for a change. When everything that you've come up against and the fact that they would try to project their the chaos onto you and get you to take the accountability, they have nobody to take the accountability anymore. Okay? Quite frankly, they very well could have been isolated. They very well could have isolated themselves. Because everybody started to see what they've done. Everybody started to see what they tried to do to you. And now nobody wants to work with them. And now they're having to sit with their own actions for a change. Having nobody to project their shit onto. So yes, collective, access is denied. Not only by you, but by your guides, guards, protectors. By the divine light that resides within you, as well as all around you. You recognize now what you represent. You recognize now what you have available to you as far as your options going forward. And there's a lot more blessings and abundance and prosperity and beautiful days to look forward to. And those that come up against you, they are reaping divine vengeance. Karma's on vacation. These people that want to come up and destroy you are being destroyed. These people want to lie on you, they're being lied on. They're being deceived. These people that want you abused, they're now getting abused. Everything that they wished upon you, they are now receiving. And they have no one to blame but themselves. What else do we need to know? 9 of feathers. Anything else? Everything that they come up against you with only made you more resilient. It's not that it made you stronger. It helped bring wisdom to your mind. It helped you realize what type of people that are actually out there. It's really rough going through life with the heart, with integrity, with the compassion, with empathy, and think everybody's got the same kind of empathy, the same kind of energy, and then realizing the hard way that that's not the case at all. It's a very difficult pill to swallow. And the fact that they're now defeated, the fact that they are now blocked and denied, okay? The fact that their whole situation is an absolute shambles as far as their emotional fulfillment. Their whole family life has gone to shit. All because they wanted you to be up in your head. They wanted you to be trapped. They wanted you acting out of character. They wanted you in pain. And all it did is help you change your perspective and empower yourself. And it helped you actually find your passion and step into your creativity. And you know what? That feels like a checkmate to me. I think you kind of recognize that some fights, some games you can't win. Some games you're not meant to win, because the games that you don't win make you humble. But just because you lose the game doesn't mean you're not going to lose the war, you know. And it doesn't mean that you're going to win the war either. But once in a while, sometimes you need to lose the game to win the war. Sometimes you need to pick your battles. Sometimes you need to realize and recognize as to what you need to put your energy into and what you don't. And by playing your cards right, by playing your moves strategically, people are learning that you're not one to mess with. People are learning that how they show up with you is what they receive. So if they want to show up in an envy and in painful kind of energy, the chances are that's what they're going to get from you. They're going to be in pain, and they're going to be in envy of you. Because you're not going to break for no one. You're not going to lose out on all you've worked on for no one. All this work wasn't in vain, collective. All of this work you've done is not for nothing. And you need to recognize that and allow that to be your foundation. You need to be determined and continue moving forward with the stamina that you have and stick up for yourself. Stand on business. You're the one that writes the story of your life. No one else. No one else has the idea or the power to dictate your life. And this is where you take the wheel. So stand in your power. Recognize the power that you have within you to be able to make your own decisions and choices. To get into the alignment of who you want to be and what you want to bring to the world. You got some major blessings coming in. There's a particular water sign that may have passed away. There's some sort of an offering. They were challenging you in order to grow. And I think you understand that. It brought you into your passion and creativity. And this particular water sign is extremely jealous. People aren't liking, these particular people aren't liking the fact that you're succeeding after all they've done. And this is just one of many of the monkeys. Many of these monkeys that come up against you were very karmic in nature. And this is why they banded together to come up against you, because they figure, on their own, they could handle quite a few people. But together, you would be no match for them. But they stand corrected. And all they did is sell their soul. They ruined themselves coming up against you. They ruin their chances of having anything beautiful with you by coming up against you. And now they think, well, we can't beat them, might as well join them. So this Mercury retrograde, you might have them popping back in to show face. And this is where you can make your final decision. Some of them won't have even the balls to come back into your energy ever again. You'll never see them again. Some of them have been incarcerated. Some of them have been put into jail. Some of them went into mental institutions and mental wards. Some of them have committed suicide. Some of them have just moved away. Some of them have just dwindled into a puddle of mud. But all of these different situations, they wanted for you. And yet here you stand, unbothered, in your power, authentic, guided, guarded, and protected. I don't know about you, but I think that's pretty rad. I think that's pretty miraculous. And for them, it's pretty sad for what they've dealt with, for what they're dealing with now. Having to sit there and watch you win. Having to sit there and realize that nothing that they did to come against you with has worked. The fact that it's all blown up in their face. Makes them a very sad individual. You know the funniest part about this is, collective? You didn't have to lift a finger. Because everything, all the work you've done within, all the strength, all the pain you've endured, all of the resistance training that you've had to deal with, has made you resilient. And all the work, all the money, all the pain, all the actions, all the energy, all the everything they invested into your demise only added to your glow up. It only added to your glow up. So take time to think. Take time to give gratitude to where it's due. To those that were there, that were supportive, genuinely. Because you even had some people come in trying to be supportive, and they played the part of supportive, but there was an underlining energy there that just was feeling off. With me, it was my previous roommate. They were an op. So as much as they were saying that they were trying to help me, as much as they said that they were trying to support me, they really weren't. They were throwing their rocks and hiding their hands. smiling in my face, laughing behind my back, and thinking I didn't know about it. And moving from my previous roommate to where I am now is like night and day. And I can now recognize how deep it went. With my own particular situation, I had a family member that got written out of the will. They wanted to get written back into the will. So they wreaked havoc and chaos into my life so that way I would leave within the family. They created rumors, they created a defamation, and they went across my whole family saying how much of a delinquent that I was, and I was abusive and a whole bunch of other stuff when I wasn't. I've always showed compassion, I've always showed love, and they weaponized it in the eyes of the people around me. They created rumors and wreaked havoc and chaos in my life, in my jobs. I would literally just get a job, and no sooner I get the job, I'm fired. And it's just for like, what? And 9 times out of 10, it was due to my negative attitude. When all I've ever done was fight for what I believe in and try to stick up for myself. Yet I had a bad attitude. Apparently I don't do what I'm told. I don't listen. I'm not one that submits. Of course not. Why would I submit? Why would I not stick up for myself? If people are treating me evil and bad, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I stick up for myself? And you want to call that a bad attitude? No. It all makes sense now. The fact that every step that I had as an opportunity, they tried to ruin it. They tried to sabotage it. And then they were asking me about my best friends. Do you have any friends? Yeah, I have friends. Well, who are they? And no sooner I let them know of my best friends, of who my friends are, they turn around and my friends aren't my friends anymore. So that was meant to disassociate me from any type of support that I had in my friendship avenue. And they'd wreak havoc and chaos. In every friendship, every relationship that I had, they'd go in behind my back and tell them a bunch of rumors to the point where they'd just ghost me. They wouldn't talk to me ever again. And I'd always wonder why. Like, why? Why? With no answers, no closure, no nothing. Constantly, over and over and over and over and over again. And then it got to the point where now they were trying to create a demise. They were trying to create chaos. Everything that I was working towards, specifically my last ex, where everything that I was building, they would take a moment to destroy it. Everything that I would try to do, they would rip it apart. Everything I would try to work on, they would breadcrumb me. Right down to the landscaping, right down to the patios that I would do, the stone patios. And get me more stone, I'll do these patios. Get me more stone, I'll do these patios. They'd get me more stone, and then right just before the point of me finishing it, they'd stop. So it'd look unfinished. It would look undone, and it'd look like it was just half-assed done. So then I would have to portray and take on their bullshit half-assed attitude. And I ended up telling them, go get me more stone so I can finish this job. Go get me more stone because I want to continue on and I want to do even more. Go get me more stone. No, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to pertain to anything that you're thinking on working on. I go and I rebuild the deck because it was just a step up from the grass. I put a ramp in You can see it in one of my videos here on YouTube about the light and the darkness. I put a ramp, I put a deck, and I extended the launch, I extended the dock out into the water so we had more room. We were able to bring a dolly so that way we could bring in our food and our propane and our gasoline and all our products and all of our, all of our resources in order to live comfortably. But when we first got there, it was an absolute shit show. By the time I left, by the time I was kicked off the island, so to speak, they had water put in, they had a water basin put in to hold water. We could take longer showers. We could use the washing machine better. We could, we updated the batteries. We updated the solar. We updated everything. All of that wouldn't have happened without me. So what started as a shit show is now a half decent place to live. But now I don't get to enjoy it. And that's okay. That's quite alright with me. Because I know what is coming for me and what is about to be plopped into my lap is better than anything that they could have ever provided for me to begin with. So am I willing to lose it? For sure. I would willingly sacrifice it for what abundance and prosperity and blessings are about to show up. I would gladly let it go. Right down to my family, all my so-called two-faced ass friends, the people that thought that, they could support me, throw rocks and hide their hands, and not be genuine, and siphon my energy and siphon my resources. They're dumb. They're extremely dumb to think that they're actually going to create a demise for me. Because everything that they've come up against me with is all faltering. It's all blowing up in their face, as it should have. Because I've given them nothing but support, nothing but compassion, nothing but love, nothing but understanding. Giving them the benefit out of the doubt when I shouldn't have. Giving them the support when I shouldn't have, because they were taking advantage of me. Putting all that energy, putting all that time and investment into different things, only to come back with nothing. And they think that they're getting one over on me. They think that they're knocking me down a peg. They think they're trying to humble me. They're in for a rude awakening. Because if they haven't been humbled yet, the humbling is on its way. And if they don't sit down and start taking notes, they're going to come upon this test. And when the test happens, I'll tell you right now, they're going to have an epic fail. And it'll be the only fault, it will be on them. So understand that as long as you stay focused on what you're doing, and stay in a positive attitude, stay in a positive mind frame, understand your intention, understand the way you want to move forward with integrity, with respect, not only for yourself, but for other people. Despite how people might be jealous of the fact that you stand on integrity, you stand on good morals and respect, and they don't like that about you, let them show you who they are, so that way you can act accordingly. and just keep moving. Because these dumbasses are so distracted by you doing well that they're not focusing on their own. And by them not focusing on their own, they're creating resistance for themselves. And by you focusing on your own, you're healing, or you're evolving, you're creating a situation of benefit to you. Those squeaks are getting the oil that they need, and you're being refined, you're being upgraded, you're starting to move a little quicker, you're starting to tap in and step into alignment with what's meant for you. And before you know it, collective, as long as you stay focused on what you're meant to do, sky's the limit. And good things will have no other choice but to start happening for you. So stay in this good energy. Stay focused. 1044. Knowing that you are guided by the Ascended Masters. Knowing that you are guided, guarded, and protected. Due to the fact that you hold ingenuity, integrity, authenticity, love, compassion, respect, and truth, and forgiveness. These are all the ingredients for success. So stand on it. And don't let anyone tell you different. Don't let anybody try to gaslight you into thinking that you're not doing it right. Because as long as you stand on your integrity and your principles and your virtues, show them how it's done. They should be taking notes. And if they're not, that's not your problem. That's a them problem. I want to thank you for joining me tonight for tonight's reading. I love my tribe. I love my supporters. Thank you so much for the ongoing support. Thank you for being here tonight and hanging out. I'll be back again next time, tomorrow, for another reading. There very well could be a Vortex episode coming up soon, where I get into the politics and the news and all the bullshit. I think that's going to be a new segment coming in, because I tend to not do a lot of the politics on my channel as much as I can, but there's definitely some opinions and there's definitely some things I need to voice my opinion on regarding the world. And that's why the Vortex has been created, the Vortex Collective. So that way I can kind of try to keep them separated. All the super chats, the super thanks, the super stickers, they do not go unnoticed. I thank you so much, and I wish you hundredfold abundance back to you for sharing your support and showing your support. Please understand that together we're going to make it happen. Each individually as well as the collective. So do the healing, receive the abundance for that healing, and strive to become the best version of yourself. Don't settle for less. And if you can't be good at it, at least be good to yourself. So that way, you can be good to others. Until the next video, have yourself a good evening. I'll catch you later.